going on, Bucs fans? Hope you're having a great day today. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Bucs Breakdown by Chat Sports. And Chris, thank you so much for watching today. If your name's Chris, hey, shout out to you. But anyways, my name's Reed Barkus, host of Bucs Breakdown. We're going to be doing a mailbag today featuring you guys. You answer questions on a community post that I put out yesterday, and you guys had some great questions. And what I love about this channel is it's not about me. It's all about you guys. I'm trying to give you guys the best content possible that you can take in, give your opinions about and everything like that. But I love hearing your opinions as well. So I wanted to make sure that I can put those out for you and you guys can see what other people are talking about and we talk about it together because that's what we talk about on Bucs Breakdown here at Chat Sports. Now, if you want to be featured on a mailbag, make sure you turn on your notifications because if you saw, that post that I posted out there with that cool picture, it's a big chance for you to get featured on the show. So make sure, step one, hit the sub button. Got to be subscribed. Free Bucs content all year long. And then step two is click that notification bell to get notified whenever I make a video, whenever I post anything on our community posts. And then step three, select all options so that it's not just videos or anything like that. It's those community posts that you can see so you can get your questions featured on the show. Now, speaking of questions, let's go to Roger Greenberg. Great name, by the way, Roger. And he says, who should we get from the free agent market? Man, Roger, this question about a week or two ago would have been a lot different. But the options are a little slim right now, especially with the cap space dwindling a little bit. We have enough cap space, but you got to keep some for the rookies that you draft. But if you look at the top available free agents for Tampa Bay, I have a couple different names. Now, you're going to look at this and be like, why is there a wide receiver on the top? Mike Evans leaves in free agency. I kind of put Jauan Jennings on here just as a different option. It's not like we're in desperate need of a wide receiver. I think Emeka Egbuka, Jalen Millen, and Chris Godwin are going to be fine. But if you wanted to add another veteran wide receiver to that room, Jauan Jennings, but only if he brings his price down. I'm not paying him the amount that he's asking for. Joey Bosa is an interesting option. I know we have Al-Qadim Muhammad and Yaya Diaby, and he is more, he could play outside linebacker. He is slowing down a little bit as he gets older, but that is an interesting option. And then with, K-Dot returning, could we add a guy like David Njoku? These are like the top available right now. I think we look ahead into the draft, but Mekhi Becton, he had a terrible year with the Chargers after his insane year with the Eagles, and that could be Jeff Stoutland with the Eagles. But I think if you keep Mekhi Becton at guard, it could be a little bit better. Last year, having those offensive line issues with injuries and everything like that, that cohesive group never really got it going, and that we have a good offensive line if it stays healthy. So you get a guy like Mekhi Becton in the back, have some good depth so that something like that happens next year with injuries. We have a little bit of depth to help with that. So those are the top available options. If you guys have any other options, please let me know down in the comment section. But I think we look towards the draft. All right, moving on to Green Day lover, as well as I do. Love Green Day. What should we target in the draft? What should we target? So, like, position-wise, if you want to look at our team needs, we got edge rusher / outside linebacker, that 3-4 defense that Todd Bowles likes to run. It's a little... you play on the outside, you play up on the line as well. So it's sort of outside linebacker, edge rusher type. Inside linebacker, sort of where Alex Anzalone is, Saracier Dennis. And then tight end with Kate Otten coming back. But Zach Robinson likes to run that 2 tight end set a lot. So he might need maybe, a more athletic second option. Cornerback, because we're losing Kendall Vildor to the Patriots today, actually. So we're getting a little slim back there. I wasn't expecting us to bring him back. He was more of a depth piece as well, but could use some extra guys there. And then offensive line, like I said, more of that depth just to feel comfortable with Baker Mayfield going into a contract year as well. We need him to play very well. Now, if you want to look at some Bucs draft targets, these are some guys that at pick 15 we should be looking at. Now, I can already tell you watching right now, you're like, what the heck is Jordyn Tyson doing on this list right now? We don't really need to draft a wide receiver that early. We should go defense, right? I'm putting out, some draft targets that we can possibly look at because I'm just trying to get in the mind of Jason Licht of how about we give Baker Mayfield enough weapons on the offensive side. But Akheem Mesidor is definitely a guy on there that I'm looking at from Miami. But I mean, looking at this wide receiver depth chart, it's a little it's good. But it's definitely weird without Mike Evans there, and we could try and get that that different type of target for Baker Mayfield, but I don't know. And that different type of target could be a guy like Kenyon Sadiq. I've talked about him in our last video. If we do want to go that offensive route, if we don't want to use that pick number 15 on defense, could Kenyon Sadiq be that different option, more of that quote-unquote Mike Evans replacement that Zach Robinson could use, sort of like a, Kyle Pitts that he used in Atlanta. But I'm also looking at C.J. Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia. He could be a good option as well. And then Keldrick Faulk too. But Jordyn Tyson, he would slot in pretty good in this wide receiver depth chart. I'm expecting Emeka Egbuka to be that wide receiver one. Jalen McMillan, in his return after his preseason injury, he was a good addition to this team as well. But adding another weapon like that on the outside, like Jordyn Tyson, he's tall, he's big, he's fast. I think that could be an option potentially. I don't know if they would go that route because they did go defense heavy in the free agency route. So could they go kind of crazy and be like, hey, because we weren't expecting Emeka Egbuka that one year. So could they do the same thing this year and just add another weapon for Baker? We'll see. But moving on to the next question from Just Jordan. Speaking of, is Emeka Egbuka the wide receiver one with Mike Evans gone? Yes, I believe so. And I think Zach Robinson believes as well. I think he's very excited to get a guy like Emeka Egbuka who can run the whole route tree, fast, explosive, and it is very important for, after having a good, weeks 1 through 9, because he was a little absent after that. And is that a Josh Grizzard problem or is it a Emeka Egbuka problem? And I think having a guy like Zach Robinson who is experienced in calling plays could help Emeka Egbuka take that leap into year 2, because he sort of fell off that second half of the season. He had 6 touchdowns from weeks 1 through 9, and then it was like Josh Grizzard sort of like put him away. And I know there were injuries and it sort of hurt that a little bit, but I think Emeka Egbuka needs to take that second year leap that a lot of second year guys, or I guess younger guys, have done. Like Puka Nacua took that leap and now he's one of probably a top 10 receiver in the league right now. I see Emeka Egbuka potentially doing that as well. And I think he needs to, with the replacing Mike Evans and him leaving in free agency, there needs to be that top guy, and I think Emeka Egbuka is going to be that guy. Now, you pick a wide receiver one for me in the comments section. Do you think Emeka Egbuka would be the wide receiver one with the Mike Evans leaving? Or do you think Chris Godwin sort of takes that veteran role and says, hey, I got it, guys. Follow me. I'm going to lead this team to another playoff berth. Now, please type 2. I just lost my train of thought for a second. Type 2 for Emeka Egbuka or type 14 for Chris Godwin in the comments. Love seeing you guys get active in the comments, so please let me know down there. All right, moving on to Jamarcus Russell. You watch the show, Jamarcus? Hey, shout out to you. No, but will this be Baker Mayfield's last season? That is a very, very good question, Jamarcus, because he is going into a contract year this year. His contract is up. We did a little restructuring with him, but you never know, because Baker, he had a great year in 2024 with 4,500 yards. He had his best year, I think, of his career. He had some good years in Cleveland as well, but pairing him up with Liam Cohen, he had 71% completion percentage, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. He is going into a contract year, but we did have a good quote from Jason Licht from the Combine talking about what their plan could be for the future of Baker Mayfield with the Bucs. And he said, I don't have a timeline for that, but our plans revolve around Baker in the future. So I don't think anybody wants to see Baker leave the organization. We know everything we need to know about Baker being with him for 3 years, and everything is positive. He's tough as hell, great leader, No timeline, but all plans revolve around Baker. And in my opinion, I love that. I love that Jason Licht, he said no timeline because you don't want to give that away or anything like that. But I love that he is backing our guy. Baker's a great leader. We know how his energy can bring this team to life. And I think last year he had a little bit of a confidence issue, and that hurts the motivation and the leadership of this team and in the locker room because he's the rah-rah guy that will get you going. And when he has a little bit of a confidence issue, I don't think he was confident in terms of bringing guys up and making people accountable, and because maybe he wasn't having the greatest year, so he didn't feel comfortable being that guy. But I think I've said this before. The Bucs should extend Baker in the summer, and I think that might be the plan with that quote from Jason Licht, sort of that summer range of extending him, because if you wait, I think this year is going to be very, very similar to 2024 because of Zach Robinson's offense, and he was working with the Rams when Liam Cohen was there. They worked together. That offense could be very, very similar, and we know what he can do in that type of offense, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. I think that gets a lot more expensive if he has a good year in 2026. So I think you extend him now before the season starts, get him on a good deal, and then we have him for the rest of the time. I think that. You let me know down in the comment section, though. All right, moving on to another question from D1 Buzz. How do you feel about Mike Evans leaving? I knew I was going to get a question like this. There are a couple in there, but I just picked D1 Buzz because, it's a cool name, and I like his profile picture too. But I mean, I think about Mike Evans in terms of, it sucks having him leave because I don't want to see him in another jersey. But I gotta take the Mike Evans goggles off because I love him. We all love him. The community and the fans love him. But he is an aging wide receiver with injury problems. But the only thing that's in the back of my head is when he's on the field, he's good. He's very good. And he is losing a little bit of step. So it's like, on one side, I'm like, it sucks that he's leaving. And I don't want to see him in another jersey. And we're losing that red zone threat, that big target guy. But and then I look at the other side, and I'm like, well, he is getting injured. He didn't have 1,000 yards for the first time ever, and that was because of injuries. And it's like, well, you can't look at injuries. Sometimes you kind of have to, guys. So I think I kind of respect the fact that he wants a new chapter, and he took less money to go with the 49ers, and he feels like he can win there. So I think we just have to respect his decision, and that's all I'll say. I don't want to talk about Mike Evans forever because he's not on the team anymore. If he wants to come back and retire as a Buck, I'm all for it. But as of right now, he's on a different team. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, moving on to another question. I believe this is the last question. If Todd Bowles is fired after another disappointing season, is Chandler Whitmer our future head coach? Diego, thank you for the question. Chandler Whitmer, that's a crazy person to take over as head coach. He's our quarterback coach that came over from the Indiana Hoosiers. He worked with Fernando Mendoza, helped him win a championship and win the Heisman. But I don't know if Chandler Whitmer is the name, but I agree. If Todd Bowles has another disappointing season, I think he's out. And he was on the hot seat after the season ended. A lot of people were clamoring him to be fired. But they brought him back. They love Todd Bowles. They know what he can do. And I think last year was a tough year because with the inexperience of Josh Grisard at OC, I think he was, more focused on the offense and he had to juggle a lot of things in that offensive side when he just primarily wants to focus on defense. So you saw that list of his records. A lot of it is just kind of squeaking by. And last year, you missed the playoffs for the first time in a while, losing to a not good Panthers team. People get to talking, and he's definitely going to be on the hot seat this year. I don't see how he can't be. It's definitely warm, whether you think it's burning hot or it's got to be warm. So if he has another disappointing season, you look at other people, maybe from the outside or from the inside. And my prediction is if his defense has another disappointing season, because that's what we want him to focus on. He's won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. Focus on the defense because that's what he's good at. And while Zach Robinson is an experienced play caller, he can focus on the offense. If that flourishes for Z-Rob, I think he could potentially take over. But that's only if the offense does very, very well. Because if the offense does very well for Z-Rob, he's either going to get head coaching talks from around the league or just different offense coordinator positions. Like, if he does very well, he'll be in conversation for head coach positions around the league or for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So if Bowles' defense does well and the offense does well, I don't think anybody leaves. But you never know if his defense has another like poop the bed. I think Z-Rob could take over. But you let me know. Do you want Todd Bowles fired after this season? It's a very interesting question because I asked this question after the season ended last year, and I was like, what do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type N for no, and be honest. If you're like, I think he needs to be done, whether he does well or not, and you need a refresh, or if he's like, well, we have like 10-7 season, and we make the playoffs, and we get far in the playoffs, then we keep him. Where's like that threshold? You let me know down in the comments section. Like I said, I love hearing from you guys. Now, to be a part of the channel, you got to hit that subscribe button if you want to be featured in the next mailbag so I can read your questions and we talk about everything that goes on this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications once again because that helps you know if I post something on the community post and you guys get to put your questions down in there. So make sure to subscribe. You get free daily fun Bucs videos all off-season long. We're going to be doing stuff about the draft. Free agency slowing down a little bit, but we got to see who the Buccaneers are going to choose at 15 and beyond. So hit that sub button and like the video if you thought today's video was pretty fun. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. We're growing this channel crazy. So I really, really love it. And as always, fire the cannon.